Across Europe, a transformation is quietly underway. Beneath mountain ranges, under seas, across borders that once slowed trade and travel, engineers are stitching together a single transport system designed to connect the northern edge of Scandinavia to the heart of the Mediterranean. More than 5,000 kilometers of rail, road, ports, and airports. On paper, it sounds simple. In reality, it's one of the most complex infrastructure undertakings Europe has ever attempted. This is the story of TEN-T and the colossal tunnels and railways bringing it to life. For decades, Europe's transport systems developed along national lines, different rail gauges, different signaling systems, ports and airports that didn't connect efficiently across borders. The result was friction, slow freight, congested highways, higher emissions, economic bottlenecks at borders. TEN-T exists to fix that. It's a long-term European strategy designed to replace fragmented national networks with a single, interoperable system. 9 core corridors now link major cities, ports, industrial hubs, and airports from north to south and east to west. The scale is enormous. Thousands of kilometers of upgraded and high-speed rail. Dozens of major ports and airports connected directly to rail. Cross-border bottlenecks removed. Millions of jobs created across construction, logistics, and operations. According to EU estimates, the completed network could raise economic output while supporting millions of jobs over time. One of TEN-T's most important goals is shifting Europe away from roads. Today, more than 70% of freight still moves by truck. That dominance comes at a cost. Congested highways, rising logistics expenses, and high carbon emissions. Trucks remain essential, but relying on them for long-distance freight is increasingly unsustainable. By mid-century, Europe wants at least half of long-distance freight to move by rail or inland waterways instead. Electrified rail emits far less carbon per ton kilometer than road or air transport. TEN-T isn't just about speed, it's about decarbonizing transport while keeping Europe economically competitive. Turning that vision into reality requires massive funding. Through the Connecting Europe facility, the EU supports transport, energy, and digital infrastructure. Between 2021 and 2027, transport funding alone totals nearly 26 billion euros. But that's only part of the cost. Member states and partner countries finance the rest. Nowhere is that ambition more visible than along one route in particular. A corridor stretching from northern Norway all the way to the Mediterranean. This north-south artery links Arctic ports to southern shipping lanes, forming a continuous route for passengers and freight. 2 projects along this corridor stand out. One beneath the Baltic Sea, another deep under the Alps. Between Denmark and Germany lies the Fehmarn Belt. For decades, crossing it meant ferries or long detours. At peak times, delays were unavoidable. Millions of passengers use the route every year, alongside growing freight traffic. The solution is the Fehmarn Belt Tunnel. When it opens later this decade, it will become the longest immersed road and rail tunnel ever built. Trips that once took nearly an hour by ferry will take just minutes by train or car. Copenhagen and Hamburg will be closer than ever, economically and logistically. Unlike bored tunnels carved through rock, this tunnel is built differently. Massive concrete sections are constructed on land. They're floated out to sea, lowered into a trench on the seabed, then connected underwater with extreme precision. Each section weighs more than 70,000 tons. An 18-kilometer trench has been excavated in the Baltic Sea to receive them. Once placed, the tunnel is buried beneath layers of rock and sediment to protect it from currents and ship anchors. Inside, 4 separate tubes carry rail and road traffic simultaneously. Building in the Baltic Sea brings unique challenges. The region is home to sensitive marine life. Acoustic monitoring pauses construction when animals approach. Artificial reefs compensate for habitat disruption. There's also a hidden danger beneath the seabed: unexploded munitions from World War II. Before excavation began, bomb disposal teams carefully scanned and cleared old mines and depth charges. At a cost of around 7 billion euros, most of it covered by Denmark, the project employs thousands of workers from across Europe. It's one of the most complex marine construction efforts ever attempted. Far to the south, another bottleneck has shaped European transport for decades: the Brenner Pass. This Alpine crossing funnels millions of trucks through narrow valleys between Austria and Italy. The environmental cost has been severe: noise, pollution, constant congestion for local communities. The solution wasn't to climb the Alps, it was to go underneath them. The Brenner Base Tunnel is set to become the longest railway tunnel on Earth. Stretching 64 kilometers beneath the Alps, it will surpass Switzerland's Gotthard Base Tunnel. Passenger trains will reach speeds up to 250 kilometers per hour. Freight trains will move faster and more efficiently than ever before. A journey that once took over an hour will drop to roughly 25 minutes. Construction began in 2011 and continues to push engineering to its limits. Deep beneath the mountains, tunnel boring machines chew through rock day and night. Each weighs thousands of tons and advances only meters per day under ideal conditions. In water-saturated zones beneath rivers, standard excavation isn't safe. Instead, engineers freeze the ground using liquid nitrogen. Unstable rock turns into solid ice before digging continues. Ventilation is another challenge. Over such distances, heat and air pressure build rapidly. Parallel ventilation tunnels double as emergency escape routes every few hundred meters. To remove excavated rock, a conveyor system more than 60 kilometers long carries thousands of tons per hour. All of it designed to avoid endless truck convoys through fragile alpine valleys. Once complete, the Brenner Base Tunnel will double rail capacity through the Alps. Freight on this corridor could flip from 70% road to 70% rail. Construction emissions are significant, but studies suggest those emissions could be offset within years as traffic shifts away from trucks. Costs have risen over time, now estimated between 8 and 10 billion euros. Funding is shared between the EU, Austria, and Italy. Together, these projects reveal what TEN-T truly represents. This isn't just infrastructure. It's a redesign of how Europe moves, trades, and grows. By cutting travel times, reducing emissions, and removing cross-border friction, the network strengthens Europe's internal market while preparing it for a lower carbon future. The work is slow, expensive, and often controversial. But once complete, the impact will last for generations. Europe isn't just building tunnels and tracks. It's building a continent that moves as one. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Europe's most ambitious infrastructure projects, like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.